And we are back with another edition of the Recruiting Insider, making our way across the country, seeing some of the nation's top prospects. And surely when you're talking about the nation's top prospects, you're always looking in the state of Georgia. And Woodward Academy is no stranger to big-time prospects. Another one this year. It's one of the top defensive backs in the country, one of the top guys on the board for not just Michigan, but for a number of the nation's best programs. Talking about Mr. Blake Stewart. Blake, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great, man. Glad that we could catch up with you. Been telling you I wanted to sit down with you for a while because watching your tape, watching your film, I see versatility, a guy who could do a lot on the back end. I see why all these schools are chasing you. But I want to get into the meat of it, how you grew as a prospect before we even get to recruiting. So let's just start at the beginning, man, your foundation in the sport. When did you know that this was a game that you love? When did you know this was a game you were good at?
Yes, sir. So I started playing football when I was younger, and it was flag football at first because I was scared of the contact. But sixth grade year, I started to pick it back up, and I started to realize that I could actually do something with it after going to a lot of football camps like FBU, and I did pretty good, and I just picked it up from there.
So you said you were scared of contact at first. Now, that's not something that is natural for a defensive guy. Like a defensive guy craves contact. So when did you kind of flip that switch and go from being scared of contact to if you're a defensive guy, you got to love the contact?
I would say freshman year. Freshman year definitely, because I was just thrown in the fire playing varsity freshman year, and I had to tackle. And I knew I wanted to play, not just sit on the bench. So. Okay.
All right. So, I know what I see when I watch your game, Blake, but I like for guys to describe themselves. So when you're watching, pretend you're a coach or a scout and you're watching Blake Stewart on the field, kind of break down your game, give us a scouting report. What do you see?
What I see a lot of versatility. I see someone that can make plays on the ball, tackle when he needs to, cover man on man wherever, anywhere on the field, and just go on offense if he needs to as well, and make an impact in the special teams game.
So is there a player in college or the pros that you kind of model your game after or that people compare you to?
Not really, but I like Travis Hunter. That's in the league right now. I like Patrick Surtain, Brian Branch. I like all of those.
So, with the Detroit Lions now.
Yes, sir.
Big time playmaker, can cover the slot, can play out in the corner.
Definitely.
Can play safety, will come up and hit you, right? And they kind of slept on him a little bit in the draft, and he came up and surprised them. So,
he did.
It's doing this thing up there now. Now, it feels like, you tell me if you feel this way. I watched the tape, I was like, man, this is a ball player. It feels like they kind of slept on you a little bit at the beginning. Did you feel like that, and if so, why?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like that because I didn't play my sophomore year, so people didn't want to take chances on someone that didn't really have much film. But junior year, I had to come prove everybody wrong and just ball out, really, so yeah.
So was there a point, when a guy, when a player like yourself is really in the zone, when you're doing well, like it, and there's maybe a moment in the season or a moment in the game where you're like, man, I'm killing it. Was there a moment like that for you where you realize I am really playing my best football?
Yeah, it's a couple games, but one game in particular, I'll probably say my Chambly game. We played Chambly, and we was beating them a lot, and then all of a sudden the game got close, and I wasn't really touching the ball as much on offense. So as soon as I came on offense and I started getting the ball, I scored 2 touchdowns, like right back to back. So it kind of made an impact on that game and scored. So yeah.
Yeah, man. And so I see that versatility, things that you could do all over the field. Are colleges kind of talking to you in that vein? Or are they just saying safety? And what I mean is some guys, they might say, hey, you're so versatile, like DB. Play you at safety, I'm going to play you at nickel, might slide you out at corner. Yeah. We're going to do a lot of different things with you. What are schools saying to you?
They're saying exactly what you just said, really. Playing anywhere where I can fit, safety, nickel, corner, because I believe I can play wherever, and they also believe that as well. So, yeah. Okay.
So you said going to football camps. I don't know if you've been to one recently, but height, weight, 40, where are you sort of checking in at this point?
My height, I'm around 6'1", and then my weight, I'm 180.
Okay. All right. So now, I watch you, and I see all these schools in the South be after you. Now, it's one of those things, man, when you grow up, you familiar with what's around you. You grow up a fan of one of these schools. You got Georgia over here, you got Bama over here. Were you a fan of any of these schools?
Yeah, so I grew up a Bama fan, honestly. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, of course, Brian Branch, right?
Yes,
so who's your favorite Bama player?
Ryan Vance, Patrick Singh, Julio Jones, Bryce Young.
So you run the gamut. So when recruiting starts, though, is it hard to kind of put the fandom piece to the side, or was that easy for you?
I would say it started off hard because my family, like on my mom's side, they're big Bama fans. Like they won't wear no other jersey, but they said for me they'll put on a jersey unless I'm playing that school, then they'll put on that jersey. So yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's interesting. Some of the schools that you are obviously looking at played Bama, beat Bama. What was that like around the house when that happened?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
So, you got so many schools, like as we start to dig into recruiting, so many schools looking at you, wanting you. You got, so many options. How did you begin to narrow it down to a group of schools that you wanted to visit? What was the criteria for that?
So I kind of narrowed it down off of basically where I think I could fit in. Going to visit plays a big part as well because I need to be able to, if I can live on this campus, walk around this campus, and even if like a coach was to leave and I'm at the college, would I still be able to still be here? So that kind of played.
So for people who don't know, kind of lay out what the schools you ultimately kind of narrowed down
on. Clemson, Miami, Michigan, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, and Texas A&M. So
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you got most of those schools are in the South,
Yes, sir.
right? So as you kind of looked at, I didn't hear you say distance from home. Is that something that's playing into your mind at all?
It plays a little bit because my mom got to come see me, my dad. I want my family to be able to come to the games, come watch, and not have to travel so far. And in case I need something, they can be right there. So
Yeah. So how big of a factor is that going to play? Because you got Texas A&M over there.
Yeah.
And then you got Michigan up north. So those schools being the more distant of the two, how big of a hurdle is that for them?
Michigan, it's not too bad because you can just fly straight there, and it's not too bad of a drive. So that's not too bad. But Texas A&M, it's a little far, but
I get it. But like you said, you could be in Michigan in a hour and a half plane ride, which you've experienced. So let's dig into the Michigan recruitment. Do you remember when it began? Was it a school that you were always interested in, or did you get interested in Michigan once they started showing interest in you?
I took a little interest seeing Mike Sarenstill because I kind of see myself as him, like how he played. So as soon as Coach Morgan followed me on Twitter, I kind of knew it was going to heat up right there. So yeah. Okay.
All right. And so you started to talk to Coach Morgan. Obviously, he's recruiting you now, so you've gotten a chance to get to know him a little bit. What's the vibe like with Coach Morgan?
Yeah, he's a great person. He check up on me, make sure I'm doing well, and he helped me out with my football knowledge as well. So
now, they vary the roles of their defensive backs. They do a lot. Like for instance, they have one defensive back that played safety, played nickel, wound up at corner, balled out at corner, right? So what are they saying to you? Are they talking to you like that, or do they want you to come in and play nickel or safety? What is Michigan saying?
So right now they want me to come in and play nickel, just solidify that spot, because that's where they say the best athlete and the best players going to be on the field. But also they said if I need to go to safety or corner, then I'll just go there and play because they know I can. All
right, so Blake, you made it up to Michigan. You got a chance to really see it and take it in. What was your biggest takeaway from being up there and seeing it up close in person?
Biggest takeaway is probably seeing all the facilities, talking to the coaches, and just getting the feel, being around, really.
Was that your very first time?
Yeah, that was my very first time.
And so you were, it sounds like you were surprised by the weather a little bit.
Yeah, I was blown away. I was expecting it to be way colder. I packed tights, leggings, all long sleeves, everything.
All right, so if you had to single out something other than the weather that really surprised you, what would you say stuck out to you the most about the program or about the coaches? Was there something that you saw or experienced up there that really kind of resonated with you?
I would say two things. The way Coach Morgan was substitute his players, they wouldn't all just go to corner. They would all rotate around to know every position, to know just in case for like a game or something, someone needs to go there. And also just I would say like the weight room because how big it was. So yeah.
Yeah, man. So you got to like more than Coach Morgan and the weather and the weight room. You got to like the other coaches too, right?
Yeah.
So what about Coach Martindale, Coach Wink? What did you think of him?
Yeah, he's a great person. He knows what he's talking about. He coached in the league, college, coached great players, so he knows what he's talking about. He can help me definitely get to the next level.
All right.
Yeah.
And then Coach Moore, like this is a coach, his first year, you know, had some ups and downs, but they finished the year strong. You got a chance to sit down and talk to him. What did you think of Coach Moore?
He's a pretty cool guy. He's young. He's not that old, so you can kind of like talk to him, relate to him. And I can definitely see the path that he's trying to take Michigan. And he said he's not going to leave because that's where he wants to be. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it was his first year. You know, they're coming off a national championship. A lot of players went to the league, but then some return. They start out strong, and then they have a dip, but they come back. They beat Ohio State. They beat Bama. Were you watching them at all last year, and were you surprised by how they finished?
Oh, yeah, I was watching them for sure. I watched the big-time games that they played, and I was a little surprised. I wasn't expecting them to beat Ohio State, but they did, so yeah.
And so what did you think when it happened? I mean, you know, they were a 4-touchdown underdog.
Yeah.
You know, Will Johnson's not playing. Colston Loveland's not playing. The offense wasn't playing well. And they went down and beat Ohio State in their house again. What did that say to you, if anything?
It means they're not going to give up, and they're not going to let Ohio State beat them. So yeah.
So the other piece of it, as you look at it, is then they go and play Bama.
Yeah.
A team that you obviously watch very closely in the bowl game. It's kind of a revenge game because they played them in the Rose Bowl, so you had to be watching that one.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Rose Bowl game? And then this game was maybe even more of a surprise to people than last year's game because so many guys, even more guys, stepped out. Mason Graham didn't play. Kennedy Grant didn't play. All those guys didn't play. So what did you think of Michigan playing Bama?
That game, I thought the defense played great because everybody wanted to play. Everybody wanted to win. They all played hard to not give up, even though Bama had some of the best players still out there playing, and they didn't. They still had young guys to come step up. So that shows like the future of Michigan, like how it's gonna go. So yeah.
So let's draw away from Michigan. I want you to give me, as you talked about the schools that you kind of focused in on, give me the why. What was it, if you could sort of narrow it down in a nutshell, about each of those schools that stood out to you the most and had them make the cut for you?
Clemson, I would definitely say is high on my board because it's just how many DBs go to the league and how well they do because of great coaching and Dabo, he has the most first-round picks. So Vanderbilt, I could say them. I can see the vision that they're going down, and they have great safeties, great coaches to come out. So you definitely got to trust the process with them. So you can definitely tell some great guys. And Miami, there's some great coaches at Miami as well, as long as players. They just got new coaches there, and I've been talking to some of the coaches before they even got there. So that kind of played a big role and a big part of them going to Miami. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So you got a list of schools that are really, you know, these are the ones. Now, Blake, it gets harder.
Yeah.
You know, when it's 30, 40 schools and you narrowing it down, you know, it gets to the point where there's some schools that you don't really like what they got, but all these schools got something that you like. So now, what do you use? What's the criteria that you're looking at that's going to separate one school from all the rest of the ones that are your finalists?
I would definitely say, like, I was trying to see with the coaches, how the coaches say they're going to use me, how they're going to involve me into the team. I want to play early, as soon as I get there. And I know that's going to take time, but I want to see what coaches can help me develop me as a man and on the field, develop my game to help me get to where I want to go.
Okay. All right, so how do you measure development, though? Are you just looking at how many draft picks they put out? Like, how do you measure development?
I measure development by seeing all the other players that they had before, and my dad also helps me with that because he knows what he's talking about, and I trust my dad. So, yeah, I would definitely say that.
Okay. So now, when you get ready to go on the officials, so what are you going to be looking for on the officials that's different from all of what you saw on all the unofficials?
Officials, I'm looking to see if I could just, like, be there. By the time being there, I just want to see if I could, like, see myself living there every single day, going to school, going to class, working out with the players, especially hanging out with the players because that's what I'm going to be around. So I got to see if I can be cool with them. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So we established that distance from home is at least a little bit of a factor in there. What about NIL, man? Every guy has to look at it on some level now. How big of a factor will NIL be for you?
It's a factor, but it's not too big because the money always gonna be there as long as you do what you're supposed to be doing. And this money that I'm looking at for college NIL, it's not the money that I really want. I want the NFL contracts, that type of money that's gonna come. So yeah.
So are you looking at depth charts, like how many DBs they have, how many DBs they brought in?
Yeah.
I mean, what about that piece?
I looked at it a little bit, but I know what I can do, and I know that as soon as I get to college, I'm not gonna stop working. So I know that I can definitely get myself playing somehow. So yeah.
Yeah, because you said you want to play early, so that's why I was wondering.
Yeah.
Have schools kind of laid out for you the opportunity to come in and play right away?
Yeah, they have. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So now you said you got schools that you're gonna take official visits to. Do you have a timeline for when you like to make a decision?
Sometime in July, definitely. Not too late in July, probably maybe around July 12th, around there, but not exactly.
All right.
In July, definitely though.
All right, so yeah, so you really just after you make the officials, it's gonna be decision time, man. So the people around you, like your family, like big Bama fans, but they put that to the side. Are they what are they telling you that they want you to look for? Are they telling you who they like, or are they kind of leaving all that to you?
They don't really tell me who they like because they want it to be my decision, but they also help pitch in a little bit. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So you talked about players. You want to know if you can connect with the players. Are there schools on the list where you feel like you've connected with the players more so far?
Yeah, I'll say for sure. I would say all the Clemson players. So yeah, I'll say them a lot.
How many times have you been to Clemson?
I've been to Clemson 3 times. So yeah, I can say to Clemson, Vanderbilt as well. A former player, he goes there now. He used to go to Woodward. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some connections there that are really helping. What about in recruiting? Are you talking to any other recruits about, hey, you go do your thing together, or maybe it's some guys who have already made decisions that are trying to recruit you to their classes? What about that piece?
Yeah, I would say for sure because some of my teammates for 7-on-7, they're committed to some schools that I'm highly interested in, so they try and get me to go there. It's the same way, really. So, yeah.
So how big of a lure is that? The opportunity to play with guys that you know, is that a big thing in your decision-making process?
A little bit, because I kind of want to play with some people that I know that are good so I can help the team go where they want to go. And also that chemistry piece helps as well when you know all your friends and teammates that's going to the same college as you, so yeah.
I got you. All right, so, you have a lot of great options on your list. You said you got your criteria sort of mapped out. You want to wait until July 12th. Is there a chance you go on an official visit and you like it so much that that's it? It's a wrap? I don't have to see anything else?
I don't know, maybe, but probably not. Because I want to go through all of them and kind of lay out all my options, so yeah.
So in your mind, even if you don't want to tell me who it is, you leaning anywhere right now?
Nah, I'm not leaning nowhere, really.
Okay.
Nah.
All right, so you
probably just seeing those like 4 schools that I had said, so yeah.
All right, so what about the part on the academic side? You go to Woodward, you got to be serious about the academic piece. So on the academic side, what do you want to major in that part of it?
I want to major in sports communication.
Okay.
In that area, so yeah.
Okay, so you want to be on.
Yes, sir.
You want to be doing this.
Yes, sir.
All right, I got you. All right, so the other piece that I always like to do when I sit down with guys, man, is this journey. You don't do it on your own. You already talked about how big your dad is in the process, right? So when you need to be held accountable, they do that. When when it's time to celebrate, they do that. Make decisions, they help you do that. These are the people that have been holding you down and going to continue to do so. So this is your opportunity to kind of look into the camera and thank all the people that have helped you get to this point.
First, I want to thank God, and also I want to thank my dad, my mom, my sister for coming to all the games, Coach Davis. Really, that's really it. All my family members coming out to watch me, support me, so yeah.
So how's it going to go in the end, Blake, when you get ready to make your choice? Do you sit down with your family, take their feedback, and you guys sit down and make a decision collectively, or do you sit down, listen to what they have to say about each school, and then go make the decision yourself?
I'm probably going to listen to what they have to say and then make my decision and tell them. So yeah, probably.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. And so if we want to come down and watch you in the fall, do your thing. I mean, we always like to circle some games on the schedule. So we're looking at big games on Woodward's schedule to come see Blake Stewart. What would the games be?
Any of the first 3 games, Carrollton, Collinsville, or Marist, either one of those. So,
Okay. Yeah, that Carrollton game sound like that's gonna be a banger out the gate. All right. So the other thing that I like to do before we get out of here is I like to finish with a Michigan question. If you could single out the thing about Michigan, the thing that you like the most about them right now, and then challenge you. What's the biggest question that you have about Michigan at this point?
What I like the most about Michigan is how well they train their players to get ready to go on the field. Like, they just don't throw them out there. And if they're not ready to go, then they'll have them sit and wait and then go out when they're ready. So, yeah, they're not forcing you to go.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
All right, and then what's your biggest question? You got to have some questions as you get ready to go on this official. What would it be? Or what would they be?
What question I would say is I would probably ask the players, like, how well they actually like it and how well, like, they get to know and, like, how the coaches are treating them and teaching them. So, yeah.
So that's like at every school, though, right?
Yeah.
Or do you already have a feel for that at some of the schools on your list?
I would feel for that for some of the schools, so yeah.
Okay, I got you. Well, Blake, man, I've been looking forward to this for a long, long time. So I appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend with us. Good luck the rest of the way. I know you're going to do your thing on the field, but this recruiting thing, has it gotten stressful for you or is it still fun?
No, that's all a blessing. I enjoy it.
Okay, well, man, good luck. I know you're going to make the best decision for you. Looking forward to seeing where you pick.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching another edition of the Recruiting Insider.